So I recently did a Google search on what percentage of people are visual learners. And according to the results, around 65% of people out there are visual learners. In other words, they need to see it to learn it. Which brings me to the point of locksmithing. So if the majority of people out there, like myself, learn visually, and I want to learn locksmithing, or I want to get help or try to understand some of the concepts that I need to know, it only makes sense to use a clear practice lock. So let's dive in together and see what we can learn. So what we're going to be talking about today is this clear practice lock. Now, it's clear, it's transparent, and you can actually see exactly what's going on. And I want to go over 3 different areas or skills that this lock can help you learn. And if you stick around to the very end, I'm going to have a little bonus for you. Now, I'm making this a bonus because, well, there's kind of like a caveat that comes with it. So let me take the camera, I'm going to flip it on up here, and let's have some fun and let's learn some things. All right, so I am here with the clear test lock. You can kind of check it out, kind of see what we got going on here. Pretty awesome. Of course, you can kind of see the bottom pins are down there, the top pins, and then the springs. And when it comes to key duplication, I think why this can be helpful is that when you take the right key and you stick it in, you can see how everything on the shear line lines up really nice, and you're able to turn it, and you can kind of see, then you can see the bottom pins in here as well. I think that's really important to where you can kind of visually see that. But then if you were to take like a blank key and stick it in, is what it allows you to do is you can kind of see the cut pattern, right? You can see what would really need to happen for the plug to actually turn. But with key duplication, once you kind of get that concept, the important part is someone maybe duplicates a key for the first time like this one, and that's what I did here. And sometimes, when you get done and you visually look at it, it looks pretty gosh darn good to the naked, untrained eye, right? You can kind of see that there. And to the untrained eye, it looks like this could possibly work. And so if you take that and you have someone practice duplicating keys, and then they can put the key in and test themselves, a lot of times is what they'll realize, what they'll see here when it doesn't work, is right here in the middle, this middle chamber wasn't actually cut all the way down properly right there. So if you can see that really good, it's just sticking up just enough, not allowing it to turn. And in contrast to putting the real key in. So you put the real key in here, and you can see it works. So it's a really good visualization of someone learning to duplicate keys and being like, oh, okay, I get it now. This is why I didn't, there's a little missing, and that's why it's not turning, even though visually looking at it, it looks pretty gosh darn similar. All right, the next thing I believe this practice lock can help you with is lock rekeying. Now, when it comes to lock rekeying, a lot of times is what happens is you give someone a key and you show them how to take a plug follower and pull it out and then change pins and do all this stuff. But a lot of times they don't really quite understand what's going on inside of here. Well, this way you can really start to see and understand, similar to key duplication, of how and why it works. But kind of most importantly here, you can really start to understand and learn the shear line and what the shear line is and why it's important and why having the right size pin is critical. And then, of course, after a while, you can stick a blank key in and you can really start to visualize what those cuts are going to look like on how you would need to rekey it. Kind of a fun little thing you can practice actually is, you have your spacing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And by sticking a blank like SC1 key in here, you can be like, okay, what's the first cut? Well, that looks like it's a 1 to me. What's the second cut? That's probably a 3. And next one's a 1, and so on and so forth. And you can go cut it. You can put the key back in, and you can see how you're doing and how close that you are getting. So being able to look in there and be like, okay, that looks like a 1. That looks like maybe a 3, and then a 1, and then maybe, what is that? A 2. and then looks like maybe another 1 there at the end. And so you can go cut the key, put it in, try it, and it'll really start to, I think, click when it comes to rekeying and what really has to happen. Now, most importantly though, what happens to just about everyone who's learning to rekey for the first time is you put the plug follower in, you push it through, and guess what? You mess up, springs go down, top pins, you have a whole little spaghetti sitting down here with all the top pins, springs, and bottom pins, and you have to start to put it back together. Now, someone who doesn't have a lot of experience in what these locks even look like or how they function, well, putting it back together is kind of like, it seems impossible or maybe scary, and you want to do it right. And being able to see this and what's going on, I think, is also really important. And then now next up, I want to talk about lock picking, which is probably one of the reasons why these clear practice locks can be so popular. You can really start to understand the feeling in regards to the technique. And another fun, interesting thing when I got my hands on one of these is like, I'm like, okay, this is actually my favorite style of pick here. And let's put it in and let's see, like when I actually mess around with it and put it up, like what does it actually feel like? What's actually happening? I think that's super, super important to kind of understand. So then we take that style pick out and let's just put a classic in here and let's just see, okay, it feels completely different. Look how much more control I have over the movements of them. And that's something that can be helpful. Now, anyone who's ever tried practicing picking, they eventually realize how important the tension is. And as you're picking and you're going through, right, you can just put your hand over it and pick it or put it in a vise or something, try picking. And when you can't get it, you can then look and be like, okay, what's going on here? Oh, okay, this is how this feels. It's a tension problem or it's a this or that, and you can kind of work through it. Same goes with the leashy picks. If you're learning how to use pin tumbler leashies, using one of these can help you start to understand. There's a lot of feel in particular, in my opinion, with the leashy picks when you're learning. And what does this feel like? Okay, now let's see what it looks like, right? It's really the feedback that you get. And probably most importantly with the lock picking and a clear practice lock like this is you can really start to see what you feel, and then you can learn to fix it. You can learn the techniques you need to fix it, or maybe what techniques you need to stop doing. So I think that's another really awesome thing, what you can learn with this clear practice lock. All right, so let's talk about the bonus, which is lock shimming. Now, the reason I kept this as a bonus and kind of with an asterisk next to it, like be careful, is because in order to practice shimming, you're gonna have to remove the clip. Here is the cylinder that practice lock that I took the clip off, and this is what the clip looked like afterwards. Yeah, that's a little funky, right? A little funky. So I don't think this clip was necessarily designed to be taken off. Show me your clips. Can you get it off better than this? Now, I'm sure, of course, I can get this back on, but I wouldn't want to tell you as standard practice to use this to practice shimming, well, because I don't want you to ruin it. But let me tell you this, if you struggle with lock shimming, this is going to make a world of difference to you, okay? Because you're going to put your, just take the blank key that comes with it. And all right, so when you take the shim and you put it in here, okay, you can kind of see what you got going on. Let me see if you can see up top. They're kind of the same color, so hopefully it picks up pretty good in the camera. But essentially is what you're going to be able to do is learn the techniques. And a lot of times when people are learning shimming, it's easy to get stuck and you don't understand why, because all you're doing is you're just moving this pin up and down, right? By using the tip of the key. So by practicing lock shimming this way is going to really help you understand the pressure you're putting on the shim, how quick you're going up and down compared to the pressure you have on the shim. All of that's going to start to click and make more sense. And then I guess a bonus here is that if you actually do take the clip off and you practice shimming, you can also practice rebuilding the chamber if your heart desires. So you can just go and put this in here and just use a follower. You can take it out, and then you could rebuild it if you want and kind of learn and see what's going on. Now, hold on really quick. I do have a little bonus to the bonus here, which is there are, of course, other practice locks available, including this one, which is a K001 cylinder that we have machined machined out. Now, it's not fully transparent like the one I'm showing you in the video, which is really cool. But if you want to get wild and crazy, maybe going with one like this is something to consider, unless you can get that C-clip off a little better than I did. Anyways, back to the video. All right, so there you have it. If you want to learn or level up on your skills when it comes to key duplication, rekeying, lockpicking, and well, even shimming, then this practice lock might be the right thing for you. Of course, I'll put a link in the notes below. Check it out if you like, but of course, I wanna know what you think in the comments below. What do you think about these areas I covered? And more importantly, is there anything that you've used a practice lock or could think that you could use a practice lock that can help level up your skill level? I look forward to reading the comments. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Well, I guess this is the end of the video, and it's time for you and I to part ways until next time. But hey, before you go, I really do want to make sure that you know that when you comment on our videos and you include the hashtag Lockboss, you automatically get hooked up to win cool stuff that we give away live here on YouTube every Tuesday. So we'd love to have you join us. We'd love to have you comment, and I look forward to reading them soon.